Once upon a time, in a cozy little cottage painted sunshine yellow, lived a boy named Jack with his mother. They didn't have much, but they had each other and their gentle cow, Daisy, who gave the creamiest milk in the whole village. Jack and Daisy were the best of friends. He would tell her stories, and she would listen with her big brown eyes. One spring morning, Jack's mother looked into the pantry, and her shoulders slumped. "Oh, Jack," she sighed, "the pantry is bare. We have nothing left to eat. We must sell our dear Daisy." Jack's heart felt heavy. He couldn't imagine life without his friend. He gave Daisy a big hug, promising to find her the kindest new home. Leading Daisy down the winding path to the market, Jack felt a tear roll down his cheek. Suddenly, a funny little man with twinkling eyes and a long curly mustache appeared. "Good morning, young man. That's a fine cow you have there," he chirped. "I'll trade you for something much more valuable. Something magical." The man opened his hand to reveal 5 colorful, shimmering beans. They looked like tiny polished jewels. "Magic beans?" Jack asked, his eyes wide with wonder. "Plant these tonight," the man said with a wink, "and by morning you'll have a surprise that reaches the sky." Jack thought about it. The beans were so beautiful, and the word magic danced in his head. It was a risky trade, but the thought of magic was too exciting to resist. He traded Daisy for the 5 beans and waved a sad goodbye as the little man led her away. When Jack got home and showed his mother the beans, she was not happy. "Beans? Jack, you traded our Daisy for a handful of beans?" she cried. Feeling foolish, Jack watched as she tossed the beans out the window into the garden. That night, Jack went to bed with a rumbling tummy and a heavy heart, wishing he had made a better choice. But when the morning sun streamed through his window, Jack saw something incredible. Outside, where his mother had thrown the beans, a gigantic beanstalk had grown. It was thick as a tree trunk and twisted with green leaves and colorful flowers, soaring up, past the fluffy white clouds and into the endless blue sky. It was magical after all. Forgetting his hunger, Jack felt a thrill of adventure. "I have to see where it goes," he thought. He tiptoed outside, grabbed hold of a thick leaf, and began to climb. Up he went, higher and higher, the world below shrinking until his little cottage looked like a toy. He climbed through the soft, misty clouds and found himself in a land unlike any he had ever seen. The sky was a soft shade of lavender, and everything was enormous. He was standing on a path made of giant, smooth stones that led to a colossal castle. The door was so tall, Jack could have fit through the keyhole. Cautiously, he squeezed through a tiny gap under the massive door and found himself in a kitchen the size of a field. On a table as high as a house sat a loaf of bread bigger than his own cottage. Suddenly, the floor began to tremble. Thump, thump, and walked a giantess. She was as tall as an oak tree, with a kind face and hair like fluffy white clouds. She spotted tiny Jack hiding behind a giant salt shaker. "Well, hello there, little one," she boomed, her voice surprisingly gentle. "You look hungry." "Don't be scared." She smiled, and her smile was as warm as the sun. She gently scooped Jack up and placed him on the table, breaking off a crumb of bread for him, which was a perfect meal. As Jack nibbled on the delicious bread, the giantess told him about her husband, a giant named Barnaby. "He used to be so jolly," she sighed, "but ever since he lost his favorite treasures, he's been so grumpy and sad." Just then, the castle shook again. Thump, thump, thump. Fee, fee, fo, fum. A deep voice rumbled. "It's Barnaby," whispered the giantess, quickly hiding Jack in a large teacup. The giant Barnaby stomped in, looking very gloomy. He sat down with a heavy sigh that blew like a strong wind. "Where is my golden harp?" he grumbled. "And my hen that lays the golden eggs? They brought me such joy." He explained that a tricky sprite had borrowed them long ago for a party and never returned them. Now all he had was a big, empty castle and a sad heart. From inside the teacup, Jack's own heart ached for the sad giant. He remembered the feeling of losing his friend Daisy. He peeked out and saw two incredible things sitting on a shelf. One was a small, beautiful harp made of pure gold. The other was a little white hen sleeping peacefully. They were the giant's lost treasures. Once Barnaby had fallen asleep, snoring like a thunderstorm, the kind giantess helped Jack. "Maybe you can help bring the happiness back to our home," she whispered. Jack knew what he had to do. He wasn't going to steal them. He was going to borrow them to show the giant he understood. With the giantess's help, he carefully carried the little hen and the small golden harp. The hen was warm and calm, and the harp hummed with a gentle light. Jack scurried back to the beanstalk. Climbing down was much trickier with his hands full, but he managed it. When he reached the bottom, his mother ran out, overjoyed to see him safe. Jack placed the hen on the ground, and to their astonishment, she clucked happily and laid a perfect, shiny golden egg. Then he strummed the harp, and it played the most beautiful, cheerful music they had ever heard. With the golden eggs, Jack and his mother had enough to buy all the food they needed. They even had enough to find the little man and buy Daisy back. Their little family was whole and happy again. But Jack couldn't stop thinking about the sad giant. He knew he had to return the treasures. So the next morning he climbed the beanstalk again, this time with a plan. He arrived at the castle and found the giant Barnaby sitting alone, looking even gloomier than before. Jack bravely stepped out. "Mr. Giant, sir?" he called out. Barnaby looked down and saw the tiny boy. "I believe these belong to you," Jack said, holding up the harp and the hen. "I only borrowed them to help my family, but I know how it feels to miss something you love." The giant's eyes widened. A huge smile spread across his face, chasing all the gloom away. "You brought them back." He boomed with joy. "You're an honest little fellow." He gently took the harp and the hen. The harp began to play a happy tune all by itself, and the hen clucked and laid a golden egg right in the giant's palm. Barnaby was so grateful that he broke off a piece of the golden egg and gave it to Jack. "For your honesty," he said. "And please come visit us any time. Bring your mother. We have plenty of room." From that day on, Jack and his mother were good friends with the giants. Jack would often climb the beanstalk to listen to the harp's music and play with the little hen. The giantess would bake him giant cookies, and Barnaby would tell him stories of the land and the clouds. The beanstalk became a bridge between their two worlds, a symbol of how a little bit of courage and a whole lot of kindness can lead to the biggest adventures and the most wonderful friendships. And they all lived happily ever after. Thanks for watching our story today. I hope you enjoyed Jack's giant adventure. If you liked it, don't forget to give us a big thumbs up and subscribe for more magical tailies. See you next time!